there's just so many awkward moments where it is asking us, do we want to leave a tip? Now, giving is one of those topics that just people get they get nervous about it. I mean, it starts really, generosity starts with the tipping that is going on. And can I just join the millions on the bandwagon that said tipping has gotten out of control? I mean, I'm at the airports all the time and I order a sandwich that is 3x the price of anywhere else. And then it says, do you want to add a tip to this? And it's like, isn't the tip included in the 3 times the price here? And there's just so many awkward moments where it is asking us, do we want to leave a tip? In fact, maybe you could leave a comment on one of the most awkward places you've seen tips being asked for. But sometimes I hit yes if they've been serving the food, that sort of thing. And many times I hit no on that because that is not the spirit of generosity, in my opinion. And we can have a good conversation on that, I'm sure. But I want to talk about what giving and generosity really means to me and what I think can help you really understand how this power of giving can transform your finances. You know, when I think of generosity, when I think of giving, I think of it in multiple buckets. One of them is giving to something extra to someone who has done something extraordinary in the level of service. We think of a restaurant server. We think of maybe a person who has delivered our mail through the snow, the ice, that sort of thing. Maybe it's the person that mows the lawn for you year in, year out. Maybe it is a tip being given to someone who has helped carry your luggage through an airport or through a hotel or a crowded space, tipping that Uber driver, that someone that's performed a service for you and you're giving something extra to them. That's generosity. That's everyday generosity. And then it takes a step up when you're supporting organizations that are doing great work, individuals and organizations who are doing great, fantastic work. This could be your local church. This could be through a local food pantry. It could be Meals on Wheels. It could be Habitat for Humanity, and any number of fantastic organizations that are doing great work to impact their communities and our world. And then there becomes a greater focused effort of generosity that I call informed philanthropy. And if you've ever purchased my book, Oxen, I finish with informed philanthropy as one of the key reasons why someone would want to get Oxen, those investments that allow you to have an abundant harvest and live a fully funded life. Now, I encourage you to think about a couple of things. One of the things that I have discovered in my own journey of finances and giving and generosity is that it gives me a bigger perspective. A bigger perspective. When you recognize that you have the ability to give, even if you yourself are not what you would classify as thriving, but you make this conscious choice that you're going to give, it opens your eyes in ways that you may not have seen your local community and the area that you visit most. You just see it differently. It'll give you eyes to see needs and opportunity where you, compounded with the effects of dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of your community, can really do amazing, great things. It gives you that bigger perspective that says, hey, while I might have a house that has heat in the winter and has air conditioning in the summer, hey, there is somebody else who is homeless. And regardless of the circumstances that have led to the homelessness, they are homeless and they have heat in the summer and they have cold in the winter because they do not have air conditioning or heating. And so it really helps you understand, man, that, you know, one of the reasons, and I truly believe this is core of my soul, one of the reasons that God blesses us is so that it's not all for us, that he sends it to us so that it can go through us. And that bigger perspective is powerful. Another thing I've discovered about my journey of generosity is it gives me a better and right motivation. That word motivation is really key. The motivation then becomes not just, hey, I want to get all I can for me, myself, and I. It's, hey, I want to thrive so that I can support and fund these causes that for some reason God has knit my heart to. It gives us a bigger why. And that motivation gives us pep in our step. It gives a hop in our step to say, I'm showing up to work every day to work, to add value, to increase the profits of the organization, to help execute and fulfill the vision of the organization, to serve our customers and clients really, really well. Maybe in a particular day, I don't feel like it, but because I have this bigger motivation, what I would call a right motivation, to say, hey, I want to be able to do good work so that I can fund these other good works that are reliant upon givers and generosity. It gives me a bigger why. And I really encourage you to really think about the motivation behind why you want to live a fully funded life. And if you're like most people, when you've listed out what comprises your fully funded life, generosity moves to the top of the list. It's just a big part of any person's fully funded life. One other thing that I have discovered and how generosity has transformed my finances is given me a deep-rooted joy. Many people that meet me say they constantly turn to the person who's traveling with me and said, is he always this way? Or when I'm with my bride, they have asked, has he always been this way? And for some reason, yes. And I believe it's because I've chosen to live a life of abundance, not one of scarcity. Now, has there been times that money has been scarce? Absolutely. But I've chosen to prioritize giving even in those moments. I've prioritized making sure that we were funding the needs of others, even when I was being a buffoon with my finances. I don't know if I've ever described it that way, but it was fun to say. Maybe you could say buffoon today. That's fun to say, like Buddy the Elf. But I was being crazy with my money and spending a lot of my money, but I did not neglect to exercise this generosity thing. And I think it's one of the core reasons why I have such a deep-seated, deep-rooted joy. One final thing that I wanted to share here before I close out this episode of the podcast is I found that becoming intentional with generosity, well, that forced me to become a better manager of my financial resources. Because one, I wanted to be able to give these resources away. And you cannot do that just flippantly, because if you do, well, then you will miss out on obligations that you actually have for your own family's finances. And so it forced me to the table to say, hey, if I really want to commit to being generous, if I want to commit to returning the full tithe to the Lord through the local church, and if I want to help fund some of the work at Purdue University and our local university here, Anderson University, I really love what they've done in our town and what they're doing for students. If I want to help out, Sarah McLachlan and the American Society for Prevention for Cruelty to Animals when that commercial comes on and Wolfie's in bad shape. Well, listen, I've got to be a better manager of what comes into the household. And it is for that reason that this is the first of the month as I'm recording this podcast, and we have a budget. It's our 249th budget in a row where we are being intentional with our dollars. And we have put in there all of our giving, and we put it first. So I encourage you. I know you want to be able to give. Have you exercised that area of your financial muscle, so to speak? Have you gotten financially fit in that area? I know you've been working on saving, paying off debt, investing, all those different things. Hey, do not neglect the one that really can bring you deep-seated joy, the one that can give you a bigger motivation and a greater perspective, and that is generosity. Hey, How have you exercised this in your life? Is there anything you would add to the conversation? Leave it in the comments below. We would love to hear that from you because really, generosity is one of those personal experiences. And a lot of times we learn from others, but this is one people don't share a lot in. So maybe you could share it even anonymously. We can learn about the power of generosity together. Hey, thanks so much for joining me on this Monday. And we'll see you right at the same time, same place next week on Monday with another Right Now Relevant tip. Get fired up. Hey everyone, Joe Stengel here. Thanks so much for watching this episode. Hey, I encourage you to check out our other videos that are available here. If you like this, hey, every single week we're producing new content that is to help you with right now relevant information. So make sure you click one of the links and check out some more of our information. I think you'll be so glad that you did. I know your wallet will be glad you did.